Before we actually go into our syllabus, it's very important for this course, legislation issues and contraction management, to actually understand some of the basic background about law, okay? About Malaysian law, because we're all functioning in Malaysia, you all are working in Malaysia, you all are mostly Malaysians. Is there any non-Malaysians? Not so sure, but then yes. So if you're working in Malaysia for a Malaysian company, you're staying in Malaysia, you need to follow Malaysian law. Okay. So basically, we need to understand legislation and contract. You see, so we have to go back to the fundamentals to actually understand the principles of law. Okay. So what is rule of law? Okay, the rule of law is basically better, according to the Greek philosopher Aristotle. I think he actually mentioned that the rule of law is actually better than rule of any individual. So if I have my own rules, you have my own rules, then who's going to follow what? You see, I mean, are you going to follow my law, or am I going to follow your law? So basically, we need to have a standard systems of rule of law so that everybody are being treated equally. Everybody is functioning in a specific settings or environment. So it's like a specific structure and function, okay, of of a proper human civilized society. You see, so that's why another renowned philosopher, Franz, he actually mentioned that in all majestic equality, the law forbids the rich and poor alike to sleep under the bridge, bake on the street, and steal a loaf of bread. You are entitled to have certain rights. You're entitled to have certain you have certain rights. You also have certain responsibilities, and you also have certain obligations that you need to fulfill to maintain order in society. So this is applying to not only rich people or poor people, or to certain professions. Is applicable to everybody in this country, everybody who is functioning in the Malaysian society. Okay, so we need to understand what is law first. Okay, so of course in Malaysia, the Constitution of Malaysia is the highest, or the federal constitution is the highest level of law. They call it supreme law, and many of the our acts and all that are actually part of this federal this part of this federal constitution, and nothing is above the supreme law. Okay, so now let us discuss what is law. Okay, so basically law is a system. Okay, it's a system, a set of regulations and rules that are enforced by the government or other authorities. Okay, so it's like we Malaysia, when we start up, we actually form, the people actually choose the government, and the government forms the law. Okay, so the law to protect the people and to serve the people and make sure that everybody behaves accordingly to one system. Okay, so there's no such thing as that's why sometimes we said you're above the law, or we can't bend the law for you. You see, so it basically means that everybody is subjected to this particular one system, which we call law. So it's a very important point. I mean, it's a very important thing that all of us need to understand, that, it is a system that has stringent enforcement. It implements and upholds the rights, equality, fairness, and justice for every human being, regardless of whether you are poor, rich, smart, not so smart, and it doesn't matter. Okay, so it plays a fundamental role, to form the civilization. Any when we want to say, we are civilized people, we are a civilization. Like I said, many thousands of years later, they said all these places are actually wiped out. So then they found a civilization, like they dig, and then archaeological finding find a civilization. One of the pinpoint whether a civilization actually exists will be whether at that time there is a system of rule of law. Okay, so that is how important law is. Besides other things, it's like language, people are staying together, social orders, social functioning, like the functions of the social of different people, cohesiveness. These are some of the how we say civilization, what we mean by civilization, actually. Right? So, it's a law established that rules and regulation that governs the conduct of the people within the society. Okay, and by defining the rights, responsibility, or obligation, it helps to maintain order. Okay, order and stability. So sometimes we wonder, is it law first or order first? Do you form uh, does civilization, does people actually go into a very orderly system to form law, or law will create their order? These are very good questions that, we all should. It's a very good argument. It's like whether it's chicken first or egg first. So this is exactly what this argument, law and order, is usually about. So if the country is in war, people are fighting, or they are in famine, or in some natural disaster, there's no order. Would law apply? Law cannot apply. You see, so where order comes about, when things are getting better, people start to sit down and form law to actually look into the to actually form a system to govern people, to maintain order, and to resolve problem to improve stability and to prevent chaos and anarchy. So which one first? Huh? You tell me which one first. It's interesting, okay? So law first or order first? Do we have order, then we have law, or do we have law first, then to create order? I think there is no specific, really there's no chicken and egg. Both are there. You see, both are there. There must be some form of orderliness. People must be some form of civilized. There must not be barbaric for them to form. Like, it's not possible if they're barbaric and then they can form, all the countries in total this chaos and disorder, then the law can be formed. It's not likely. Okay? So then then after that, people sit down, they form government, they form the law, and then after that, this law will continue to maintain order and stability and prevent chaos. So maybe that is the way that we should think about law. Okay. What else? So it also safeguards the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. So that's why if you do something wrong, your enforcement, the punishment will take that freedom away from you. Take that freedom, independence, and time away from you. You sit in a prison, your time stops. You don't have freedom, you don't have independence. So that is punishment, you see. And that is one of the strictest punishment that anyone can dish out, besides, of course, death penalty, you see. Ensuring protection against abuse of power, discrimination, and injustice. So it covers a lot of things. So it establishes a mechanism whereby every citizens have rights, and then they can seek for redress. Seek for redress means they can seek for how we call retribution, seek for some form of compensation or some form of help for their grievances. Okay, gratification. Okay, improvement for their grievances. If the things got stolen, then what you can seek, you can call the police, and you can seek for redress, means that you can seek for some form of assistance to regain back your things. You see, so these are purpose of law. Okay, so it also fosters social cohesion, cooperation. Establish normal behaviors. It has to be normal. It promotes mutual respect, tolerance, cooperation, and all that. So it creates a conducive environment for economic activity. That is very important. You want to have prosperity and economic growth. The fundamental framework of law must be there for entrepreneurship, for trade, for investment. Okay, so it also addresses public concerns such as communities, crime, and all that, and civil rights, crimes, and all that. So basically that is what law is all about in that